This is the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast, episode 17 with the president of FitSee, Bryan O'Rourke.
With all this change, what do I do as a business, as a professional to leverage it, to reach more customers? How do I operationalize technology better? What are some best practices? Of course, what is emergent technology that's really available out there and what is coming?
Welcome to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast for club owners, operators, and fitness professionals. I am your host, Josh Trent, and this is your number one trusted resource for the accelerating world of fitness technology. Each week, we bring you an expert interview with a global influencer at the crossroads of fitness and technology. You'll gain the insights, tools, and inspiration you need to stay connected to the pulse of what matters most for your fitness business in the age of exponential technologies. This podcast is brought to you by support from our outstanding sponsors, Bryan O'Rourke and his family of companies, including Videre Ventures, Integris Advisors, Moon Mission Media, and many more. If you're looking for unmatched guidance, capital, insights, or a great speaker or facilitator, Bryan and his partners are the go-to resource for your organization. To learn more, visit bryanko'rourke.com. We'd also like to thank the Fitness Industry Technology Council, your nonprofit resource for reliable technology information, supported by forward-looking brands who are seeking to drive increased technology adoption in the fitness industry. Make a difference and join at fittechcouncil.org today. With Ursa just 2 days away, a lot of club owners and operators are setting their sights on getting the most out of this conference. And today, our return guest, Bryan O'Rourke, is coming back to the show to talk about the cutting edge of trends for both technology and innovations during this year's conference. If you're looking for ideas around where you can spend your valuable time, this quick segment with Bryan O'Rourke is going to uncover some of the best pieces of information you'll find during the week-long show in Los Angeles and if you're following online. In this podcast, Bryan is talking with us about an industry that is poised for expansion with over 300% growth projected for the next decade and how disruptive innovation and capitalizing on wearables is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what matters most for your fitness business. We'll also talk about the optimal mindset for club owners and operators to best capitalize with these new technologies. Enjoy this featured segment with the president of the Fitness Industry Technology Council, Bryan O'Rourke. Bryan, welcome back.
Hey, Josh, how are you doing?
So excited to talk about Ursa. You know, it's coming up in just 2 days, and I wanted to share some of the information you're going to be talking about at Ursa. Let's dive right in, Bryan. The roundtable that's coming up on Thursday the 9th, it's going to be at 11:30. Who is that for, and what are we going to be talking about there?
So it's going to be for anyone that wants to participate that's attending Ursa, and it's a networking event with some of the leaders, both on the supply side of technology and other users in health clubs and fitness professionals that are adopting this technology and trying to answer questions around, hey, with all this change, what do I do as a business, as a professional to leverage it, to reach more customers? How do I operationalize technology better? What are some best practices? Of course, what is emergent technology that's really available out there and what is coming? So I think it's an open type of conversation. We had a huge attendance last year. The room was packed with people. And with the Fitness Industry Technology Council, their leadership, it's going to be a great gumbo, as they say down here in Louisiana, of people that are part of the technology revolution in health and fitness.
Well, Bryan, everyone has a voice and they're connecting with their communities. And I think what you've talked about and what a lot of guests have come on the show to speak about is it's the type of questions we're asking that are going to produce the best results. So you've mentioned we're all perpetual newbies in this world of interconnection. What is the mindset that club operators and owners should be taking when they go to Ursa? And is that going to be what we discuss at the roundtable?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's going to be one of those things. I think, you know, with so much change and of course, Kevin Kelly's book, The Inevitable, that we've spoken about, and becoming a perpetual newbie and learning becomes more important than knowing. I think that that's, you know, a challenge for people to get their hands around for a lot of reasons. I mean, if you're operating a fitness business day to day, like with any industry space, it takes a lot of discipline to step outside where you are and think strategically and keeping in mind what is possible. And both in the near term and what I could do today to make everything better for my members, for my clients, and what I need to be positioning for in the future. And so one of the benefits of these kind of events is it creates an atmosphere of collaboration and of sharing about some of those experiences that other people have had. So you can get down to best practices, practical applications of these things. I think that's what you could get out of Ursa and around the Roundtable Network event on Thursday.
A lot of club owners and operators and just equipment manufacturers, everyone in the industry, this is the World Meetup. When people go there, there's a lot of polls, a lot of notifications on their phones. How do you personally plan an event based on what's most important to you? Do you just look at the top speakers? Do you find all the meetings that you want to go to? What helps you the most when you go to Ursa to plan your time there?
Yeah, it's a great question. So right now in front of me is the calendar that I have, which runs from Sunday afternoon all the way through Saturday. And we just plan really, really hard, well in advance, trying to make sure that the time is put together in an optimal way. With a show like Ursa, of course, the challenge is understanding where you're going to physically be for each time, because there's this, mad rush to get to other spots. So it just has to do with planning, Josh, planning as well as we can to optimize our time and reaching out to people well in advance that we work with and want to work with and help.
We're going to be doing some live podcast interviews. It'll be really exciting with some of the top people that we respect in our space. Bryan, some of the talks you're going to be doing, disruption on wearables, growth. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be speaking on for Ursa.
Yeah, so I have a presentation on Thursday afternoon at 3:30, which is really about the future of the industry space. Where is it going? We had hypothesized that the industry globally will grow by 300% in the decade up to 2025. So given that it's 2017, we only have 8 years to go. And we're going to talk about some of those key trends that are driving it and what it really means to the industry space. One way we used to measure businesses and industries in general was around, number of users, number of members, and then revenue per transaction around those. We're going to see the space shift increasingly to the drivers of the most successful and fastest growing brands, morphing into a dynamic of measuring on the one axis receptors of data, and on the other axis cognition, which is intelligence. And we're starting to see in industries, in the most successful industries, where platforms are learning. And as a result of that learning, they're getting more and more valuable over time. 96% or more of the Fortune 500 companies around the world last year lost market share. And this is the whole disruption kind of buzzword that people talk about when it comes to this reinvention around the customer. So in that presentation on Thursday afternoon, I'll be talking about what those things represent, how they're showing up in the marketplace, and what to be thinking about for the future. Friday morning at 7:40 a.m., we've got a 20-minute fast-track breakfast where I'll talk about disruptive innovation and capitalizing on wearables. And what I'll talk about, and this, Josh, we've had some great guests on the podcast recently that have really opined about this well, from the people at Peloton to many different people, Fitbit, et cetera. Wearables is really kind of a misnomer as we move into things like hearables, ingestables, seeables, injectables. They're really about sensors. The value is not really in the sensor per se. That's just a receptor capability. The real value is in how we use the platforms that take that data and create user experience in new ways. Because as you know, we talked about our belief that the greatest business models in the fitness and health club industry have not been invented yet.
Yeah.
So, we're going to show what we think those things represent. And then in that 20 minutes, give a very, I'm hoping people will find it to be a very practical way of looking at how you can leverage these technologies like wearables and other things for your business.
You've been nominated to be on the board of directors for Ursa. If you were nominated and actually chosen, would you lead that charge for creating the meaning behind the wearables and the data? Or is that someone else that's already taken care of that at Ursa?
Well, Ursa has an innovation board and the group that they're forming. And we've had a few meetings at each Ursa last few years with, a tremendous array of different professionals trying to figure out how we can be of greater service to the industry space in this regard. Of course, the Fitness Industry Technology Council has been doing that as well. And I'll be working with all the professionals and the leadership of Ursa, both on the board and operationally, to try to figure out how we can best help everyone with applying learning and education around the best practices to do these kind of things. So I'll try my best to contribute, but they've got a lot of smart people involved, so I won't be the only one.
Well, Bryan, we're really looking forward to everything you're going to be discussing at Ursa. Is there anything that club operators and owners and savvy trainers should know when coming up in just a couple days to Ursa?
Well, like I did, I'm sure everyone has planned their schedule as best as they can. Do that. Use social media. Look at me on Twitter at Bryan K. O'Rourke. Look at the hashtag Ursa 2017 to see what other people are talking about. Look on Instagram for those hashtags. Follow me there. Follow the leadership of Fitness Industry Technology Council, Fit Tech Council, on those platforms, and engage and share that information and learn. There will be plenty of people there to help. We'll be one of those, and there'll be many more. So I really look forward to seeing everyone at Ursa in Los Angeles this year. It'll be great.
And we're looking forward to seeing you a lot more on the podcast coming up on our future episodes. Bryan, we'll see you at Ursa.
Thanks, Josh. You're doing a great job with the podcast. I really enjoy listening to it.
The reinvention of the customer is proving that the greatest business models in the fitness and health club industry have not been invented yet, while the term wearables is really just a misnomer as we move into the space of hearables, ingestables, seeables, injectables, and more. Yet the value is not really about the sensor, which is just the receptor. The real value is how we use the platforms that take that data and create user experiences in new ways. One way that many businesses and industries have traditionally measured success was by the number of users, members, and revenue per transaction. Bryan believes we are now going to see that space shift increasingly to the drivers of the most successful and fastest growing brands morphing into a dynamic of measuring both the receptors of data and cognition and intelligence. Thank you for listening to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast. Here's a quick message from Bryan O'Rourke.
Hey, Josh, thanks so much for doing this great podcast. Friends, if you're enjoying this podcast, you're really going to enjoy following at Fit Tech Council. Follow me at Bryan K. O'Rourke. And you'd really, really do us a big favor if you could go on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this and give us a 5-star. If you're enjoying it, please give us a 5-star and please share this podcast. Help spread the word about technology and the great opportunities it is creating for our industry space. Thanks so much for listening.